All right, hello everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you for being patient and the loving, adoring audience that I know you are. Welcome to this Thursday night edition, as they often are, of Live with yours truly. My name is Chuck Cassidy, coming to you in an odd change of pace from my home field. That's right, my little here oasis in the northwest corner of Denver, sharing the lot with some tire recyclers. It's pretty fun. It's been a while since I've been back here at home. I've been out and about gallivanting, doing projects, and I just spent 2 weeks at my friend Wes's shop in Wichita. We did a bunch of solar system installs, installed some stoves, roughed in a whole bus, did some spray foam, put a bathroom in the shop. It's a nice place out there, all in 100-degree heat. Wow, I wasn't built for that. Okay, look, Painted Buffalo, what's up, Jess? If everyone could just tell me if I sound okay and look okay. I mean, my makeup person didn't show up, but from a technical standpoint, let me know if the video and audio is there. I think things are looking good. Looks like we got 50 people already joining us, which is pretty good because this was short notice for little old me. Things have been hectic around here, but we've been making awesome progress. I've been back in town for the last, almost week, 6 days, and in that time, we've managed to get all of the interior walls built in my bus, including a very special wall that is curved. And don't worry, I will show you how I did that in a video coming out. Not this week, but I think next week that'll probably be the video that comes out. And let me tell you, once you start putting the walls up and you stop seeing spray foam everywhere, partner, that is a good feeling. Holy smokes. I'm looking at it right now because my bus is like, that's my fender. Yeah, that thing here, that is a piece of my bus. It's right in my face. But we got that done. What else did we do? Finished wiring in a bunch of the clearance lights and things like that. I added some tough guy bright lights in the front, which is cool because I'm a tough guy. And I feel like I did something else monumental on this bus, but it is escaping me now. Maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I just imagined that I did something important. But it feels really good. We're about to the point of putting in the ceiling, which is going to be a real treat. If you know Regretless or Alyssa, same person. I'm doing the same ceiling as we came up with for her bus. And it's the same style of ceiling that I actually did in the bus that I lived in most recently, the Queen of Peace. It's a curved ceiling, so I'm bending the wood actually to take the curve, running the planks across, coming forward. It's going to look really nice. I'm excited about that one. I've also come up with some really cool ideas for the interior. My bus, a friend of mine was asking me, she was like, what's your design inspiration? And I sent her a picture of this wallpaper because I'm putting wallpaper in my bus. Imagine that. And I said, I want to do all the fun things that I never got to do building buses for other people. I give a lot of input, of course, during the design and construction phase of a bus that I build for a client. But that doesn't mean that they're going to take my advice, and that doesn't mean at all that like our aesthetics will match up. And my aesthetic is colorful, weird, fun. I want it to be interesting but chill, stimulating if you want it, but calming if you don't. Can I get all of that? I think I can. And so I've got some cool ideas. I want it to be interesting. You're not going to find any black or gray or any of that modern bullshit in my bus. I fucking hate that. I also don't like minimal shit. And if someone says I'm going for like an industrial look one more time, I swear to God, I'm going to lose it. That means pipe fitting shelves. Okay. Hats off to you, brother. We've been doing that forever. And are we sick of it yet? And the minimalism thing, I'm really not into. Like, minimalism is an excuse to not do detail-oriented things. And if you want to really pull off true minimalism, it's punishing. Back when we used to make furniture, whenever we would try to do something that was minimalistic, it was maximalistic in terms of the amount of work it takes to actually make something truly minimal. I think there's a confusion between minimalism because you're lazy or lack the skills to achieve a super clean, super simple look, and minimalism in the form of like it takes an incredible amount of skill, planning, and patience to pull off a detailed, simple looking maneuver that looks like it's maybe one piece or, is like organic. That takes an incredible amount of skill. I think it was Miles Davis, or maybe it was Thelonious Monk or Charles Mingus, I don't know, talking about notes in music, and I find this to be a really apt metaphor. Um, it's easy to throw lots of shit into things, and it's really hard to strip it back to what's important. And just because you have less of something doesn't mean that what remains is actually good. If you want to do the real minimalist thing, you have to be pretty dedicated. And I have not seen many builders who can pull that off very well on a bus. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm one of them, but if I hear industrial, minimalist, boho, all of these lame, it's like, dude, just make your bus the way you want it, Anyway, I'm a little jaded, maybe because I've built too many buses for other people and I haven't gotten to flex my creativity, but I'm really excited what's happening in here. It's gonna be a freaking party. I can't wait to hang out in my bus. There's gonna be textures, colors, unique wood. Honestly, as stoked as I am about the ceiling, I considered the fact that just a bent cedar ceiling might not be cool enough for what I'm doing. But alas, I don't have all the time in the world, so we're doing a curved cedar ceiling. This is great. A rolling bachelor's pad. Yeah, I mean, kind of, like I don't know many bachelor pads though that have like floral wallpaper and handmade tiles in it. But I mean, mine will. I guess I'm still a bachelor at 36. That's depressing. Anyway, let's keep the train moving. So some life updates here. So we're in the shop. I'm going to have the shop until the end of September is the current plan. I'm basically holding on to it as long as I can until the landlord kicks me out. I am renting the home I own the home. I'm renting it to a friend of mine November 1st. I've been renovating this house for 3 years. I'm so close to being done. Renting it to a good friend, which means that when I rent that house, I have to be in this bus full time. It has to be ready to go. I feel good about that. November 1st feels far away, which is dangerous because it's really right around the corner. And sometime in September, everything you see behind me, all of this, will either be owned by you in the dump or in a trailer that I could tow behind this bus. And I don't want a big trailer. And most of what you see, well, I don't even know what most of what you see is. It's all the stuff that we couldn't sell to Wes because we still wanted it, that it's going to be hard to let go of. It's already hard to let go of all these things. And for example, my Sunraider, which I adore this rig so much, but it is so hard to be on the road without a home base and have not only a bus, but an RV. And then I also have a 1973 International Scout and a 1989 Toyota pickup. Too many vehicles. I've got to let them go. And so I've sold the Sunraider. The new owner is coming to pick it up August 15th at 9 a.m. And I'm sad about that. That's the second Sunraider I've bought and then sold because after spending lots of time and money fixing it up, because I just couldn't justify hanging on to it. It is sad. But this is the life I chose, and these are the hardships I face. And to be frank with you, these are first world problems, my friend. Bart, we got people in here. This is great. Where's the list of what's for sale? There is no list. Wes at Transcend Existence is in the house. What's up? You can have my leftovers, Wes. We'll see. You might not want them, though. I think you've got duplicates of everything I still have left. If I could get this welding table to you, though, that would be cool. But that's the hardest thing to transport, transmit, transfer. Yep, selling one, trading up. That's what we're doing here. The bus is way less fun and way less like, woo, who gives a F, than the Sunraider. The Sunraider is so little. Consequences of bad choices are small and parts are cheap and it's got so many windows. And the buses are cool. Like if you're gonna live in a vehicle and treat it like your home, a bus is a pretty sweet one, but it's got that like, I'm a house, you know, and then they weigh a lot. Everything's expensive. Diesel engines are a pain in the ass. I'm falling out of love, guys, but I'm about to be fully committed. So maybe I'm just getting like cold feet before I really move back into a bus. It's been 3 years since I was living full time in a bus. And what's crazy, I moved out of my last green bus into the house that I bought to renovate November 1st of 2020. And the plan right now is to move out of that house I bought, because it will be done, into a new green bus that I made on November 1st. Just that's how it worked out. I didn't plan for that. Go figure, huh? It's so strange. Serendipity. I also thought that this home renovation was going to take 9 months. And here we are, 36 months later, almost done. and from a budget standpoint, I don't even know what I spent. All the money from selling my last bus, plus like another $30,000. Like, I'm probably in at 90 grand into renovating this house. And that's like, I've done everything I could myself. I'll show you, we'll do a tour. Does that sound good? I'll give you a tour of what a bus converter does when he gets a 120-year-old house that needs everything replaced. That would be a funny tour. Okay, well, I've been rambling long enough. Who really cares about me? We're here to answer questions that you have. And of course, we've got to get into the tool du jour, which, so maybe I'll go ahead and do the tool du jour. Oh, excuse me. They're just going to keep going. Maybe I'll get into the tool du jour. It's actually two. And there are two tools that I've been using a lot of in the past couple of weeks. I've been doing a ton of solar installs, roughing in solar. I've got, actually tonight, I have to go assemble an entire solar system on a piece of plywood for some people who are coming in tomorrow to pick it up. And then I've got another solar system install on Monday. This is a huge part of how I make a living. And I'm not saying that I'm the best, but I might be the most experienced off-grid solar system installer in schoolies out there. Been doing it since 2010, and here we are 1,000 years later, and I'm still doing it, and everything has changed, and it's really cool what we can do now. And I love doing that. So if you want help, there's links. You can book a consultation. I can design a system. I can get you the components. I can usually save you some money and get you a system that I know works, that you can know will work. I'm not advertising. This isn't an advertisement. I'm just saying, if you need help, I'm here to help you. That is what I do, if you haven't noticed. My newfound purpose in life is to help other people convert their rigs, get free, live the life they imagined. And a big part of that is your energy system. And it can be really daunting. I'm here to hold your hand. You've got to pay me. Not because I'm not a nice person, just there's too much demand. And so I have to have something to differentiate. But there's links to that in the bottom, whatever. I'm here to help you. Anyways, without further ado, I say, let us talk about the tool du jour, or tools du jours, which is French for tool of the day of the week. Look at this. This is a match made in heaven. And they happen to match despite being different brands. Can you believe that? What are the odds? And they make satisfying clicky sounds. Is my mic picking that up? So what we have here is my favorite wire stripper. And this is the Catapult from Klein Tools. And see if yeah, that's good. So it does this thing where this jaw will pinch down first around the wire. And so you stick the wire you're using in the appropriate hole. And then it pinches, and the back jaw grabs it and then strips it out for you. Does that make sense? Pinches and strips all in one go. It's a beautiful thing. And once you've completed that, I mean, it's so fast. It's like, and it doesn't give you, I get this tendonitis thing in my elbow. Not cool. I played too much disc golf when I was younger. But, and I've got this crazy shadow thing happening. But I hate this outward pulling motion if you're doing conventional wire strippers. Like, you clamp down tight and you pull, and pulling on this tendon, like, I can't do it 100 times a day. It's going to mess me up. I need something that turns my excellent grip strength into that stripping motion. And these are they're my weapon of choice. I love them. Not everybody loves them, okay, but I do. I've got 20,000 pairs of these. This is my most worn out one. It doesn't, I actually, looking at it, I don't think it's functioning properly. But this is probably stripped 10,000 wires. I mean, this was the shop pair for, the better part of a decade. Love them. I should have probably been more thoughtful and put a link to them in the Amazon situation. They're like 30 bucks. Every time you use it, if you use it in front of somebody who's ever stripped a wire, they're gonna be like, oh wow, and you're gonna be like, I know. This can go from 20 gauge all the way down to 8 gauge, which is the vast majority of wire gauges that you will use in a bus. 6 gauge does show up and rear its ugly head from time to time, but love this thing. 30 bucks, money well spent. Now, the real, the coup de grace, the tour de force, the magnum opus. That is this insane, look at the lever arm on this. I mean, talk about a crimper. So this is from Anchor, so you know it's hot shit. Pardon my French. It is a crimping tool, and it goes from 8 gauge all the way up to 20 gauge, and you can tell because of the way it is. But you see all those different jaws, and you hear the clicking. Okay, so that's a ratcheting crimper, just like the PEX, things like this. So once you start the crimp, it doesn't let you finish until you complete it. And that way you've had a successful crimp every time. And then I love the fact that it's got this long lever arm here. So when you're crimping, especially the longer gauges that you'll be, or the longer gauges, the bigger gauges that you're gonna be crimping, you need more lever arm so that you can get a nice crimp on them. And I've got huge hands, so it's easy for me to hold like this. If you had smaller hands, this would actually probably almost be like a two-handed operation, so it kind of sucks. I apologize to you in advance, but once you get it started, you're kind of in this range. But I love it. This is easy on the hands, it's ergonomic, it gives you a perfect crimp every time. And if you're hip to the Marine Code thing, soldering your wires and doing the heat shrink thing is not Marine approved. And we follow, to the best that we can, the Marine standard around here, which is crimp connectors with heat shrink on them. We do not do solder connections here. Frankly, if you're getting paid hourly, I would be upset to be paying someone hourly to do solder connectors when you could be doing heat shrink crimp connectors so much faster. Solder connectors are cool. They're not a bad joint, but there's something that makes more sense if you need really low profile wires, like if you're wiring up a motorcycle or something like that and want it to look really nice. Otherwise, it's super labor intensive. It's not necessarily as an effective method of splicing things together as a crimp. And if you have to connect into a terminal end, like a ring terminal or a spade connector of some kind anyways, well, you're gonna have to crimp them anyways, because soldering onto those is just a freaking stupid waste of time, in my opinion. And my job was taking people's money by the hour and trying not to rip them off. So my opinion is worth something, right? So I love this. This guy is significantly more expensive. He's like 60 bucks. But again, I do these things so much that having a dedicated stripper, a dedicated crimper is, it's the only way to go, in my opinion. So there we go. I think those are great tools. I hope you like them. Oh my gosh. Okay. Thank you for joining me. I don't know about anybody else here. I've been trying these new, it's hop sparkling water. There's no alcohol in here. It's not beer. And it doesn't taste like you would expect. You think hoppy, you think IPA. This tastes like carbonated pine tree juice. And I'm really loving it. They say it's tropical fruit forward hop experience. Sabro hops. I like it. This one's from Hop Lark. God, I cannot talk today. I've been going hard. Because I'm in a time deficit. I have until November 1st, and I'm already like time to be cranking the 10 to 12 hour days while making content to share with you because I love that, while finishing a bus, while finishing a house, while closing a shop. You see how it gets complicated? Boy, but I feel blessed every morning. So what we're going to do here, oh, look, we have a Chat GPT joke. You know, they're coming for our jobs, so fuck the computers. But maybe it's a good joke. Once a wire stripper and electrical crimper walked into a bar. You know, I'm good at squeezing things tightly, the wire stripper replied, and I'm an expert at taking things off. I mean, is that a joke or just another way of saying the obvious? Isn't that what all jokes are? I don't know. Okay, without further ado, I guess I better hurry up and get into the Q&A so we can answer some of your questions. And then I've got to get back to work wiring up a solar panel system for people. So here we go. First question, bolting versus welding L brackets to the roof. Curious if welding will be as strong to just the skin. Also using solar rack for deck planks. Okay. I would bolt or rivet them on. I don't think I would weld. The skin that you're welding to is thin. And so the weld, excuse me, gosh, super carbonated. So the weld, I'm looking at the roof of my bus right now. So the weld is only going to be so strong, it's going to be easy to blow through the roof skin, which I think is probably 18 gauge. I would definitely go for a mechanical connection. Crimping creates a mechanically sound connection that resists corrosion, gas, and liquids. The Painted Buffalo. Jess, are you Chat GPT for electrical standards? Steve, is the issue with bus windows leaking from the outside or from the inside dripping down? Well, it's both, right? They have proven to be difficult to make leak proof from the outside. That's just a fact, you know? But even if you nail that, and some people have, and some people haven't, and I don't know how the universe decides who succeeds and who fails at making their stock bus windows leak proof, because it does not follow a predictable or rational pattern. We have a schoolie support member, Hinaka, and she she did the best possible job resealing her bus windows, like literally the best possible job, bought the best, most expensive sealants. She does everything to the 10, to the 9s, to the whatever, and her bus windows are still leaking. And so she's so pissed that we're going to get rid of all of them and just reskin her bus. So there is that. But perhaps you have a secret sauce that will make your windows leak proof, and you use that sauce and you get leak proof windows. Awesome. What you will then find is occupying your bus in cold environments, especially if it's both cold and humid, while living in it and keeping the indoor space heated. If you are cooking or showering or using anything that burns propane in an unvented way in the living space, you'll be adding tons of humidity to the indoor air. That humidity will condense on the glass panes of the window, and unlike an RV window, and I've said this story 1,000 times, but I'll say it 1,000 more. Unlike an RV window that has tracks and drains in the bottom of those tracks, stock school bus windows do not, I repeat, do not contain drains or provisions for draining condensation that builds up inside the windows. And so that condensation goes down the glass into your walls. And it's anyone's guess what happens from there. Maybe it's fine, maybe it's not. Maybe you get mushrooms, maybe you get mold, maybe you get both. I don't know. So that is why, and I don't know how many times I have to repeat myself, I do not and will not ever recommend stock school bus windows if keeping your walls mildew, mold, and mushroom free is important to you, because there is absolutely, first of all, there's no way of guaranteeing that no matter what window system you choose, but there is a guaranteed way of that not working if you choose the stock windows. And despite me saying this, tons of lovely people still call me, hire me to consult with, who have kept the stock windows. I don't know how I feel about that, but they do it, and you should reach out to them in 4 to 5 years and see how they feel. The odds are that they've already sold the bus. and so they'll never know actually how bad the insides of their walls got. But I'm willing to bet that stock bus windows, if you live in it full time, especially in cold climates, is a guaranteed way to get lots of amounts of condensation dripping into your walls. And it sucks. I love the stock windows, but I will beat this drum, I guess, until the day I'm dead because some people still haven't heard it. So here we go. Ba ba ba. Comedians are safe for now. Where would I recommend installing an oil temperature sensor on a DT466? I don't know. I don't really know why you would need one, but maybe you have a better reason than I do. If you're keeping your coolant temps in check and your EGTs in check, your oil temperature, it follows, would also be in check. I would say that that's, unless you already have those other gauges, an oil temperature gauge is maybe the least important. And where I would put it, it's hard to say. I mean, you probably want to know the temperature of the oil as it's coming out of the engine. And it's just draining back into the pan. So I guess you would put it in the pan, but the pan's not going to be very warm compared to, so I don't know. Sorry, I can't help you. Wish I could. What are my thoughts on a box truck versus schoolie? Well, if I like box trucks, I'd be converting one. So there's that. If you've ever rented a U-Haul box truck, they all have a warning or a label on the side that says that their trucks are weather resistant, not weatherproof or waterproof. I mean, a stock school bus also is maybe not waterproof. But I like having a solid steel skinned structure as opposed to fiberglass, which is what a lot of those are. And I also like having the driving compartment be integrated with the living zone, I guess, behind it. Now you can get box trucks for cheap, but also keep in mind, like if it was a rental, it was probably driven quite hard. There's a reason they're cheap. But also I've found that box trucks tend to be, I take back what I said because I'm thinking back to auctions, and I think that box trucks that I've seen, they're actually going for more than school buses because they have a longer useful service life because they don't have to be as well maintained. So I don't know. I mean, a box truck, if you want to do one, do one. I wouldn't do one, but if you want to do one, you should because that's what you want to do. But, they're more square in theory. That's nice. I guess, too, if the motor and chassis ever really went bad, you could maybe lift the whole box off. That would be quite the thing. So that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd rather do something else. Can you use a 110 volt charger on a 20 volt system to bypass a 6,000 watt 220 volt charger inverter? Yeah, so I'm guessing like you want to be able to run 220 volt appliances and connect to 120 volt shore power is where I think you're going with that. So you should really watch my next video because it's all about a system that does that. But as long as that charger can output enough wattage into the batteries to run the loads that the inverter is trying to power off those batteries, then you totally can. Let me start over. Nana's Nook, 2 RV roof units or 1 mini split. 1 mini split. It's not even a question. Not even a question. Is it a start choice? I think you're saying smart choice to reuse the inside metal sheets to use for window deletes or too flimsy. I've never done it. You could. It comes down to like what is your time worth and what are the materials worth. For me, as a professional, the labor on any project that we do is almost always the most expensive part. So I'm always trying to reduce the labor cost. So that means if someone sells window deletes, buying the window deletes. 99% of the time, I'm looking for the option that I don't have to build in-house because I'm not optimized to build that. Now, if I was doing it for myself, well, even as I'm looking at this bus, if there's a prefab option out there for what I'm trying to do, I'm buying it. If it's because everything else, there's plenty of custom work in a bus. Don't worry. it's going to be very personal and very custom. Even if I bought every off-the-shelf component I possibly could, this is still a phenomenally custom building experience. So I'm always looking for the easy way out. I'm always looking for a way to, in my case, buy my way out of problem solving something that somebody already has solved. So that's why I like Schoolie.com so much. Luke has a lot of awesome parts here to solve problems we all face when we're converting buses. And they cost money, no doubt, no crap. But they're made in America by a cool dude and other cool dudes and gals, specifically for us. And that's a beautiful thing. So I'm happy to spend the money. And if you don't want to spend the money and your time, maybe you have more time than money, then by all means, recycle those materials. That's really cool. And I love recycling. It's upsetting to me that when you decide to make money, oftentimes you come up against your principles of recycling and things and your desire to make money, and finding that line is hard. And for me, in my shop, are we in service to our customer? Are we in service to the planet? Well, the answer is both, and trying to find that middle line is what I've spent a lot of time doing, and it's always shifting. So good for you. Is it a flat nose or dog nose better? I'm not even going to answer that because there's no answer to that. They both have their pros and cons. So how dare you show up with a question like that? Watch it. I have a whole video about finding the right bus. There's not one that's better. It depends on your needs. Imagine that. We're talking about a fully custom build made hopefully for you and only for you. So I can't tell you what's better on that one. You're going to have to maybe watch my video, maybe watch some other videos. They all have their drawbacks. You cannot live properly without a foam insulated bus unless you plan on only using it a few months a year when the weather is perfect. I would say that is mostly true. I've lived, in all 4 seasons in Colorado, both in a basically stock insulated bus conversion and then in a super insulated bus conversion. And you can't compare them. They are fundamentally different in phenomenally huge ways. The spray foam insulated bus I lived in for 5 years was a lot like living in a house. And the energy requirements to keep it warm or keep it cool they were real, but they were minimal, And when I was living in an uninsulated stock school bus, my boots would freeze to the floor. I slept, no joke, under it was multiple comforters and several quilts. And this is with a space heater, running. I was plugged in, space heater running 24/7, still not really habitable. And I had hanging blankets to wall off areas. It's totally different. And anyone who tells you that insulation in a bus is a waste of money, ask them what their experience is. Where have they lived in buses, in different kinds of buses, with and without good types of insulation? Because I understand that there is a point of diminishing returns on the money you spend, but insulation is always working for you. 100% of the time, it's always working for you. What a sweet way to spend your money and do something nice for yourself. Should I tear out the old floor before or after your roof raise? It's really, it kind of doesn't matter. I think I usually do it after the roof raise. I kind of like having the old floor in there to work on and kind of screw up while I'm doing the really aggressive metal work, and then start from a clean slate. Have I ever built French cleats in a bus? 7 million times. They're a great way of securing shelves. Like if you're watching from if you're watching from a truck, camper, van, RV, or off-grid, hit the like button. And if you're not, hit the like button. I'm tracking this. Chuck is right because I went way beyond to seal them and decided to remove them because of Chuck, and they had water buildup. See, thank you, American Mike, for sharing that very real anecdotal story. And there are a lot of professional builders out there still keeping the stock windows, and I'm waiting for them to make a YouTube video, but they never would. that shows all the ways those stock windows are wrecking their build and poisoning their family because of mold. It is real. And if you choose to keep the stock windows, like, you're doing nothing but hurting yourself. I know that they look the best. Duh. Of course they do. Like, if I could keep them, I would, okay? This is not even up for debate. But would you rather look cool or have a rotting bus full of mold? Those aren't up for debate. I have to choose the one that isn't. So I'm not choosing the stock bus windows, and it's not because I'm not cool. It's not because I don't get it. It's because I don't want to live in a vehicle that's killing me. These vehicles are already like, they already pollute like crazy and shit. Why make it worse, you know? And people worry about like off-gassing from spray foam, but they keep their stock windows and fill their walls with mold. I'm like, there isn't enough time in the day to worry about all these people. Have I ever considered standard steel or stainless steel 55-gallon drums? I haven't, and the reason is because round objects, fitting them into the square, mostly square cavities on a bus is a really inefficient use of space. And the only real reason to go with those drums is from a cost-saving perspective. And in general, I'm not operating on that optimization. I'm not trying to do things the cheapest way. I'm trying to usually do things the best way without spending stupid amounts of money, so I get square tanks. Mounting round things can be a pain in the butt, although I can imagine how I would do it easily. But a 55-gallon tank under my bus, I think those things are like 26 inches in diameter or 24 inches in diameter. If I'm going to have something that hangs down 24 inches, you better damn well believe I'm going to make it square so that I can make up for that stupid loss of ground clearance with an exorbitant amount of water storage, you know? You know what I'm saying? So I don't really opt for that. Now, if you're trying to pinch pennies and do all that stuff, and that's a way that you found that you're cool with the trade-offs, heck yeah, man, go for it. But for me, I think it's kind of stupid, to be honest. And if you can find the stainless steel 55-gallon drum for cheap, let me know, because them suckers are hard to find. Build that bus now. I like mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Thank you. Oil temp versus coolant temp is only important on 6.0 Power Strokes that have oil coolers. Well, this bus has an oil cooler as well, but that might explain why I'm not familiar with why an oil temperature gauge would be important on a water-cooled engine. I don't fuck with the 6.0 Power Strokes. They suck. Just kidding. You can bulletproof them and make them awesome, and they rip. Whatever. I know. I've seen both sides. Have you guys seen the foam primed with window screens? Seen the foam, comma, primed with window screens on both sides. Interior builds? Is it strong enough that a bed frame holds like a wood frame? This would be great for at least the walls extra are. I think you're talking about a build that's using foam as the wall core, and those are super cool. I would love to build something like that. Obviously, it doesn't apply to a bus, though. How often should you start your bus when it's sitting during conversion, and what needs to be done in the winter? The answer is as infrequently as possible. If it's going to be sitting for like more than 6 months, okay. But if we're just going to be sitting for like 3 to 6 months, I wouldn't start it. I would just let it chill, keep the batteries on a charger, park it with a full tank, and just relax, you know? And over the winter, you should be fine. If you're going to be storing it for longer than that, it is important to get it out. And if you ever start it, do not be one of those idiots who starts it and just lets it idle for an hour thinking you're doing something noble. You're not. What you're doing is you are not letting the engine get up to operating temperature, which means you have incomplete combustion happening in the combustion chamber. The unburned diesel then washes down the walls of the cylinder, past the rings, taking with it the oil. You get a phenomenon called wet stacking, where unburnt diesel also gets out through the exhaust into the exhaust pipe and taking with it even more crankcase oil. It's a huge, stupid thing to do. If you're going to start the bus, only do it if you are going to get it up to operating temperature, and even better, take it for a drive. End of story. That's it. That's the way to do it. Otherwise, let it chill. And anybody who tells you different is giving you bad advice. End of story. What do I know? I know this because I've had fleets of buses that we would use outrageously often during the summer. When the concert season ended, we put the party buses up for the winter. And what did we do? Nothing. We would disconnect the batteries, we would fill the tanks, and we'd park them. And that's it. Don't mess with them. Don't start them unless you're going to get them up to operating temperature and drive them. Minimal thickness of plywood for sidewalls. It's really up to you. I'm using 1/2 inch in my build because it's a nice thing for anchoring stuff too. I spilled my drink, darn it. But you don't have to. You can use kind of whatever material you want. Some turtles have nice shells. Yeah, that's a great book, actually. Here we go. Thinking about turning a school into a meth lab. Any experience or... Yeah, I mean, Dusty, that's an awesome project, first of all. The biggest thing is you want to have lots of... I recommend smoke detectors, but also heat detectors. Because, you know, where there's smoke, there's fire, but where there's heat, there's definitely a fire. So if you can find some heat detectors, I recommend those. Also, you're going to want to run at least 2 max air fans. And if you want to keep this off-grid, like, give up on your roof deck and fill it with solar panels. You're going to need a lot of energy if you want to be running those fans. And those burners take a lot of juice because, frankly, you should be running them on electricity. We want to be eco, you know what I'm saying? So there's some advice there. But honestly, maybe consider just tinting the windows and keeping it that stock school bus look if you can. Stay incognito. I don't know. It's been a while. Thoughts on a Model 1. The Eldorado conversions, you know, not really, man. Have I? I don't think I've done a conversion on one of those. How would you delete wheelchair access? Galvanized steel. Yeah. Take it all out. I mean, it's a bummer because oftentimes the opening for a wheelchair door goes up above the gutter. And that's a bummer because it's obviously going to be something that you patched. No matter how good of a job you do, unless you make more gutter and put it in there. You're welcome, Marie from Denver. I don't know what this Bondo with a question mark comment is, but yes, Bondo? That's how I feel often. Any ideas what to do with a wheelchair access door on top? I just talked about that. Keep it or get rid of it. Why not use stock bus windows? Charger, where the fuck have you been, dude? I just went on a huge, long rant. This is like, come on, dude. Show up late to my live stream and ask a stupid question like that, dude? That's upsetting. Bad advice is worse than no advice. You're right. So I don't know why anybody's watching this video right now. Straight up great advice for a lab. Look at that. I made it all the way to the bottom of the live chat comment list. Oh, nope. Jamie Diaz, tips on making steel door to replace the stock entry door. Jamie, I made a whole video about it. So check that video out. It's literally nothing but tips. You're going to love it, especially if you want to make your own steel door. Let me tell you. What size wire should you use? Question mark. 2 outlets and other items you have recommended. So the way, Brittany, to do that is to, first of all, figure out the amperage that those devices draw. Then you use a tool called a DC. I'm talking only about DC loads. For AC stuff, all of your AC circuits are either going to be 14 gauge if it's a 15 amp circuit, or 12 gauge if it's a 20 amp circuit. So that's all you got to do there. And honestly, in our builds, we just run all of our AC as 20 amp circuits. We use 12 gauge. It's easy. You'll never have to think twice about it. Just buy a bunch of 12 gauge 3 conductor wire and you're set. On the DC side, it gets more challenging because lower voltage means that you have higher amperage. And with higher amperage, you have a phenomenon called voltage drop. And you have to adjust for that. And the way you adjust for that is by using thicker wire for more conduction, more efficient conduction of electricity through the wire. So I use a DC cable wire sizing tool. There's a billion of them online. You type in the voltage, the length of the run, the amperage, and it tells you the gauge you need to hit. For non-critical loads, somewhere between 5 and 10% voltage drop is fine. If it's a critical load, you want to be 5% or less. So that's what that looks like. And I don't have a set guide there. You really need to go do the math on your own based on the wire runs. So I don't have a blanket recommendation like I do for the AC side of things. But the information's out there. It's relatively easy to find. It is complicated. Use stranded wire. Blah, blah, blah. There's a great video idea for you and us. The basics of operating and owning a bus. Like what different buttons about. Sure, yeah. I could do a video about that, indeed. Stock bus windows suck, I know, but they're nice because they're windows, but they suck. I'm working on the Chuck Cassidy DVD, actually. I will take the Sunraider out one more time, and I will cry. I'm worried if I take it out, though, I'm just going to get cold feet and tell the guy I don't want to sell it. Did a 21-inch roof raise on a 40-foot bus using only rivets and adhesive on 8-gauge galvanized sheets. I did a bus like that. I did a bus roof raise where we did rivets at the top that hold the sheets on, and then we used 3M VHB tape to hold the skins on. And I think it's still working. I haven't heard that it isn't, so that's good. Got spray foam done today. Any advice on the following steps, problems to look out for? No. My advice is do the next steps and look out for problems. I don't know. I love that people bring me these questions, but I'm like, that is such an open-ended question. My advice is like, do the best job you can, look out for problems, and if you see them, fix them. You're obviously probably gonna have to trim that foam a little bit. If you see places where it's really deficient, you might consider buying some foam in a can to touch it up. Other than that, man, just keep rocking, dude. Keep on rocking. Am I making any new videos of my green school? Yeah, duh. I'm making videos till this thing's done. I know it's been a while, but it's not like I just gave up and quit. I'm never going to do that to you. I'm not going to ghost you. I'm not going to give up and quit. I will tell you when I'm done, if I'm ever done. So, Dusty, you're welcome on the meth advice. Yeah, like send some my way, but only if it's pure, man. Raising the roof, Bit Nations. Yeah, get it. That's freaking awesome. Rock on. Any ideas on a 4x4 suspension for a bus? What do you mean? People, ask me more detail. Any ideas on a suspension? Yeah, have one, I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I'm a bus converter, If you want a 4x4 bus, talk to somebody who knows that stuff, The best way to do that is to find a bus that's already 4x4. Because if you buy one and try to convert it, first of all, most shops will just laugh you out the door because nobody wants to do this. Sorry. Second, if you do get one, you decide to do it yourself, and you don't have a shop that will do it, and you're asking me for advice, partner, I'm worried about you because I am not that guy, That is a real project that you are undertaking, and you need to, if you don't have that information in your head already, you need to be like, there's old guys you probably should be talking to. I'm sorry you're wasting your time talking to Chuck Cassidy because this fella, boy, I can count on one hand the number of times I've even touched a 4x4 bus. They're really cool though. I would love to have one. But if you want to convert one, dude, 20 grand easy. Easy. And it's still so big, I'm not convinced that your lack of four-wheel drive would have been the limiting factor in the first place. Everywhere cool, you have to have something small like an awesome Toyota Sunraider to get to, Once I'm done at the shop and finish the house with the Sunraider, what am I going to do with my Toyota Corolla and my Scout? Well, the Scout's going to live in my garage probably, and I think I've got to sell my Corolla. I still own the 1998 Toyota Corolla, which was the first car I ever drove. Still own it. You only get one first. And mixed feelings, but like, what do you do with a 1998 Toyota Corolla that burns like a quart of oil every 300 miles? It's got the piston ring problem that they all had, I have an idea of how to keep those stock bus windows. You want to try it out? Okay. Do it. When do you start doing your Hey Chuck videos? That's a great question. The video coming up this week was filmed too late to do that. But starting after that, every week, and this is a good reminder, tag me on Instagram, chuck.cassidy, and say, hey, Chuck, check this out. Or what do you think of this? Maybe it's something awesome. Maybe it's something awful. Maybe it's something funny. Tag me. And once I have enough built up, I think I've got enough. We're going to start not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. I'll share that with my viewers on my YouTube channel. We'll laugh about it. Maybe we'll give some good advice. Maybe we'll commiserate over something awful. Who knows? So far, I've already gotten about half a dozen submissions, and they're really cool. That run the gamut. And I just think it's a fun way to share like what you're all doing out there working on your conversions with other people, and give our thoughts. I'm an extremely judgmental person in a theoretical sense, but anybody who ventures to go out and make something with their hands, you're not going to get a hard time from me unless you're trying to sell it to other people. And as soon as you become a professional and start selling your shit, buddy, you are going to get the full evil eye treatment. I'm going to hook my peepers all over your project. And if you're giving people anything less than the best, partner, you got an enemy in Chuck Cassidy. Some of you know who I'm talking about. Can we talk about Epic Schoolies and how awful and how supremely fucked up they are as a company, and why they somehow have like a bajillion followers, at least compared to me on YouTube, even though there was like almost a class action lawsuit against them, and I've talked to like a half dozen people who've been ripped off. It's really upsetting to me, the thing that's happening with Epic Schoolies. They even sent me a cease and desist at one point of time. Can't believe it. It's appalling. And the dude is like disappeared, filed for bankruptcy, took people's money and ran. Horrendous. Horrendous. I'm going to sign off in 5 minutes, so we'll keep going here. Any thoughts on keeping over-the-road air? I think it's a waste of time. Most people are living in their bus more parked than driving. When they break, it's expensive. Do I have experience with the Norcold fridge, the Polar Elite? Is it worth going with if it's 12 volt? I don't have experience with that one. The 12 volt factor is not necessarily what makes it efficient, but in general, those types of fridges are pretty efficient. Does anyone do a roof raise above the windows rather than extend the hat channels on the sides? I don't really know what you mean, because to do one above the windows would mean cutting the hat channels, and you're going to be cutting the hat channels in the same place. You'll just lift the windows up after the fact, so I'm not really sure. There's a place in Tulsa that does that for northern school districts. I know, Joe, and I actually reached out to them because I had a client who wanted a bus, and they explicitly told me they would only do it on a new bus, or like a newer bus that's in a model year that's still in production. At that time, it was like 2019. They said, I think it was 2016 or newer was all that they would work on. What's the minimal amount of money needed, all costs included, for livable schoolie? Dusty, that's not a fair question. That's like, what does it cost to build a house? You know? Well, I could build a house for someone who has never had a home for the price of a tarp and a day of work, you know? So I'm not going to even answer that. The answer is like $1,000 to $300,000. Stupid question. I'm an asshole. I'm sorry. I just, like some of these questions, I'm like, these aren't answerable. I'd love to think, I'm flattered that you think I'm some kind of crystal ball, but I don't have the answer to be like, yes, the minimum amount to make a livable schoolie is $2,912. Like that is not a real number. This is make-believe. Have you looked at this economy lately? Jesus, I can't even afford to wipe my ass sometimes. When are we turning the A-frame off grid? Jess, the Painted Buffalo. Immediately. Tomorrow. Yesterday? Are you available yesterday? I heard, there's theories that time is not linear, which is interesting for causality. But like maybe yesterday still exists and we can go back to it. So I'll meet you there, Jess. How about yesterday? Yesterday at noon. Oh my God. What about the Sunraider as a tow vehicle? That would be cool. That would be cool. Not really interested though in doing that. Bluebird rear wheel drive used at ski resorts. Yes, they are used at ski resorts. Have you ever installed a catwalk around the perimeter of the roof for solar maintenance? No. Sounds like a lot of work. Sounds like a work. Am I going to Schoolypalooza in Moab? That is not the real Schoolypalooza! Now you really just hit a sensitive subject for me. So I'm putting the phone down. Schoolypalooza was an event that began many years ago on free land, BLM land. It was unorganized. You could be there from whenever to whenever. And it was free, organized by the community. Happened for many years that way, okay? And then someone, because our capitalism streak is like built into our soul, decided, hey, I'm going to trademark the name Schoolypalooza, which has been essentially public domain, and then I'm going to start doing events that cost money using the social cachet of that name, Schoolypalooza. And so that's what's going on right now. Some asshole trademarked Schoolypalooza. I've engaged with him on the internet. His toxic positivity is disgusting. He is cashing in on the name of an event that was made special by all of the people who attend it. Like we've all invested our energy into that event. And me, less than most, okay? There are people who have gone like every year who put on the main stage. They go out of the way, they spend their own money to make that event kick ass. And this asshole trademarked the name Schoolypalooza and is now throwing in events in Utah. That maybe it's great. I don't care. Change the fucking name, dude. Come up with your own name. It's like, what if I started a company called Pepsi and started selling Pepsi everywhere? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the same issue here. This person is cashing in on years of, social value generated by Schoolypalooza being the name of a free event that happens in Arizona every January and is now using it to spin off their own events. I hate it. I'm actively against it. Go if you want. You will never see me there. Schoolypalooza is always free. It's only in January, and it's only in Arizona. End of story. Do what you will with that information, but fuck that guy. Sorry. I'm pissed about that kind of stuff. I don't like appropriation. Like, our public space is diminishing. Everything is becoming privatized, and it's bumming me the hell out. And that is just one example of somebody taking what was a beautiful public concept, privatizing it, and now charging money to make money off of a value that was generated by the hard work of individuals over the course of years beforehand. And I think it's really disgusting. End of story. End of story. How stressed were you with the tiles on the gutted Schoolie? Not super stressed, honestly, but the editors of that did a good job of making me look really worried. But Alyssa and Kels, they killed it. It was stressful, though, but I trusted everybody. I almost made the mistake of using Epic Schoolie. Oh my God, I'm so glad you didn't do that, Donald. That would have sucked. Frank G. Trucks. Man, I would love to hit up Nashville. Get some chicken sandwiches and maybe a guitar that I can't afford. I'm going to DIY. You're welcome. Oh, thanks for your wisdom. You're welcome. If I want to hire you for a solar build, don't DM me. There's actually links, imagine that, in the video description to make it even easier. So just, click on the video description. You'll see links. It's amazing. See you yesterday then, yeah. Do I play any other instruments besides the guitar? I played the trombone. That was my first instrument from the time I was 9 until I was 20, pretty seriously. Like big into music. Music was what I thought I would do with my life. Oh no, Brad, you got a broken rear main leaf, dude. I would try to get a modern spring made because from my understanding, we've done this on front springs. Denver Spring is a badass shop. It's actually woman owned and operated. You would never think a heavy duty spring shop of all places would be one. And I love it. They know their shit though. So they made a new set of front springs for a bus that were a modern version of like a big leaf pack. It had like, I don't know, 7 or 8 leaves. And they did it out of, I think it was like 2 or 3. And that thing handled so much better on that modern pack. Now, I don't know, like that rear axle crown thing, that's going to be a heavy duty axle for sure. So I don't know, and Denver Spring is obviously far away from you. But I would lean toward finding someone to make you a more modern spring pack if you can. But But man, that is a whole nother world. Obviously people do nothing but that for their living. So of course it's a deep subject that I am not an expert at. Um, do I think electric schoolie will be a game changer? Yeah, I think that the advent of electric schoolies means that this whole thing that we're doing is like we've already hit peak schoolie. Like this is the peak. It's all downhill from here. Big rolling home, yeah. Maybe later I'll actually tell you what I think about Schoolie Palooza because I've got even more choice words about that stuff. I just don't like that behavior. It's like it feels like theft. And one thing that makes the schoolie life amazing, right, is public lands, BLM land. So along with that, when you have an event that only takes place on public land that has no central organization, that is put on essentially by primarily volunteers for any of the communal resources, very public, right? And then someone comes along and they privatize, they trademark the name that was the umbrella under which all of that other stuff happened, all of the other work that people put in. It feels like that person is then taking credit for their work. And I lament the loss of public space in every form that we experience on this planet. Our shirts have logos. My hat has a logo. Billboards, right? We're sold advertisements constantly on the internet. We have no private space really that's safe, or we have no shared space, public space that's safe from private influence. And I lament that because I want to be in a space that is not existing for the purpose of making money. Can we do things that don't have to make money all the time? Can we do things just because they're good, they're fun, they're rejuvenating, right? And then this asshole comes along and trademarks the name, trying to make a buck off a name that we all built up. Really don't like it. It's like everything I hate about our modern, not everything, but a lot is wrapped up in that BS. You know what I'm saying? So if you see that, dude, if you see that thing advertised, you know how I feel. Anyways, no, don't apologize for striking a chord. This is something I'm happy to share. I've considered making a whole dedicated YouTube video about the Schoolie Palooza thing and about that asshole who runs Epic Schoolies. Because, I mean, that dude sent me a cease and desist after a video I put up outlining all the things that he did wrong. And then other YouTubers who are like friends with that guy criticized indirectly me for making videos critical of other schoolie builders. And I'm like, fuck you. If you're taking other people's money and you're putting out garbage builds that put, at the very least, are just crappy, but at the very worst, and they all were, endangering other people's lives, you have no place in this community. And if you want to be friends with that guy, you have no place in this community either. And to that guy, his name's Caleb, screw you, dude. Get bent. Like, you're a real piece of shit. And get out of this community. I hope you're in hiding. And I hope that the people who you've taken hundreds of thousands of dollars from, whose dreams you've crushed, get their justice upon your soul. Because that is some pathetic bullshit, dude. Like, ugh. You should hang out with that Schoolie Palooza asshole and start your own festival where you just con people out of money and you steal their hopes and dreams. I'm fired up today because I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. I'm just sick of it. I want to hold people to a higher standard. This community is too sick to let these new coming asshats ruin it. You know what I'm saying? Fucking A. Fucking A. Whoa, we got a professional bonus in here. Dude. Sick. Oh my God. How's your embouchure? Yeah, it's exactly like trademarking the Rainbow Family Gathering. That's exactly what it would be. Totally. And like, how fucking lame is that? You know, you don't do that. You don't do that in this world. We got other bonus in here. I think there's something about trombone players and school bus people, because it's a thing. It's totally a thing, and I kind of love it. Something about us trombonists. We're like not fully developed, but we're a really good time. I'm kidding. All right. Well, someone sent me $1.99 for a channel shout out. So, hey, I'm going to give you the channel shout out because I can be bought for $2. This aggression will not stand, man. Bart, that's what I'm saying. Like, these people are coming in with their aggressive capitalist money-making schemes. Like, I get it. You know, I've got my own. I'm trying to get people to pay me money for consulting, you know, but at least I'm not privatizing public spaces and public events. You know what I'm saying here? Everyone's here. I don't know why everyone's here, but everyone's here, and we're having a great time, and some of you are giving me money. So, anyways, yeah. Epic School is filing for bankruptcy because they don't want to make good on all the money they owe people because they're total pieces of shit. I can't, if I ever see that dude, he sent me a cease and desist letter claiming I was defaming him in a video where all I did was show all the things he did wrong. That's not defamation. That's called wasting your money throwing it at lawyers. Lawyers, man, let me tell you, I don't ever want to give a lawyer my money because if you're ever paying a lawyer, they're the only one who wins. You're not going to win. You know, the lawyer always wins. Fucking guy. This aggression will not stand. I need that. I should get that tattooed on my forehead. Some bad joke about trombonists being horny. Yeah, something in there. If only I was more passionate. I agree, Sawdust. Fan these flames, partner. See you later, Brittany. See you all around. I'm just a passionate dude. I've been doing this for a really freaking long time, and now it's become my identity. When things become a part of your identity, it becomes emotional. And when you see things going south, it's like hard to watch, you know. So I get fired up. And so that's, excuse my passion, but also I don't need to ask for your permission. When someone comes into the community and starts fucking things up, I'm going to say stuff. That's what I've always done. Now I have a YouTube channel. So, tromboner to guitar? No way, dude. That's what we do. I love this. So here we go. Look, it's been a long time since I rock and rolled, but I think I'm going to put the phone down. I appreciate you all tuning in and listening to my rants. I'm just trying to hold the schoolie community up to like the roots that I know. Now I know everything changes and the torch will be passed at some point. Although this is peak schoolie, so let's enjoy it, people. And let's say no to the money grabbing, you know, lustfully pursuing this capitalistic dream, because I think most of us are here, maybe not because we don't believe in capitalism, but maybe because we believe that chasing money is not the be all end all. And I know that that's how I feel. And sure, we have to make the money. I get it. But if you're going to do it with a freaking conscience, would you? Don't rip people off, and don't take money that takes value that was put into something that you didn't add to. So I won't be going to Schoolie Palooza in Moab, and you'll definitely catch me talking shit about epic schoolies every chance I get. Peace, love, and don't fuck people over. You know what I'm saying? So thanks for tuning in. We ranted today. I didn't see that coming. That was exciting. My name is Chuck Cassidy. I apologize for the cussing. I got fired up. It happens. When I run for office, I'll make sure to rinse my mouth out with soap before any public speeches. Make sure you catch the video on Sunday. It's a pretty good one. It's about a solar system, a big one. You're going to want to watch it. And stay tuned. We got another live chat coming next week, another video. I think we're going to have some merch dropping soon, maybe a Patreon, I heard, a Discord coming in the near future. I don't know. It's going to be great. And as always, if you want one-on-one time with me, if you want to talk to me, you know, over the phone or face-to-face through a screen, you can always sign up on Schoolie Support or book a 1-hour consultation with me. I can help you design a solar system, design your bus, and get your ass out on the road, out from the chains of oppression, binding us all down every day like the gravity of our own home planet. We deserve better, my friends. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And I'm going to awkwardly try to get out of here without breaking eye contact and hitting the end stream button right now. Oh, finish, end broadcast.